Speaker, I'd like to yield 4 minutes to a key member of the Joint Economic Committee, a businessman who knows that more than half of Americans today still believe we're in a recession. They've given up. They feel like this country's surrendered, and he knows the impact. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Paulsen.
Gentleman from Minnesota is recognized for 4 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. And, Mr. Speaker, I want to just speak for a few minutes in favor of the Republican budget resolution. This is a budget resolution that stands in stark contrast today compared to what the President has offered in his budget. It's a budget that balances. It's a budget that's responsible. It's a budget that is thoughtful. It addresses the spending side of the ledger to be more fiscally responsible, and it also includes, Mr. Speaker, a roadmap for pro-growth tax reform to create a healthier economy. Yes, we need to spend less, but our national debt and our budget imbalance have grown so big that we can't fix them alone by simply addressing spending. We've also got to regrow our economy, put people back to work to bring in more revenue. We are suffering from a growth gap. Normally the economy doubles every 20 years, but because of excessive Washington spending, budget deficits, high debt, these onerous regulations that come out of Washington, and higher taxes, the economy is now set to double every 30 years. So we have literally added 10 years onto our growth cycle. What does that mean? The growth gap means this, Mr. Speaker. It means for disposable income, since the end of the recession nearly 5 years ago, every man, woman, and child has been robbed of almost $3,200 every year. It means that a family of 4 has been robbed of about $13,000. That's an additional average after-tax income and disposable income. That's real money to a family. What could you do with $13,000? Our economy is performing way below average. We can do a lot better than performing below average. This budget expands opportunities for American workers by equipping them with the skills that they need to succeed in a 21st century economy. It lays a path through to reform a broken tax code by simplifying and lowering tax rates, by eliminating special interest loopholes, and by moving us to an internationally competitive tax system so that U.S. employers can compete fairly in a global economy. We need common sense tax reform to keep American businesses headquartered here in the U.S. so we can sell to customers overseas, bring the earnings back, keep our headquarter companies here, keep the innovation here, and keep the jobs here. This budget also, it cuts cronyism, corporate welfare, and waste. It ends the Dodd-Frank bailouts of big banks. It eliminates billions in corporate welfare. And, very importantly, it protects and strengthens important programs that our seniors rely on and ensures that these programs will be there for future generations. It's time to stop spending money that we don't have. We can no longer borrow 40 cents of every dollar that we spend. And finally, Mr. Speaker, this budget not only balances by growing our economy and making government more efficient, it also puts the country back on a path to actually paying down the national debt. Because the longer we wait to address the drivers of our debt, the harder our choices will be later. This is a budget proposal and a blueprint that puts the country back on track for a balanced and responsible path. I would ask my colleagues in joining me to support its passage, the Republican budget, and I yield back the balance of my time.